everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy at TV. In case you're not a subscriber yet, please do subscribe. Just press the subscribe button as well as turn on the notification bell so that you can get notifications when we upload our videos. Don't also forget to subscribe and join, follow, like our other social media platforms. Of course, you're seeing it right about now. Don't also forget to share this video across your platforms. Enjoy the video. All right, welcome back. Joining me right now is Dr. Obioha Oti, is the acting national president of AMMBAN. Good morning, Dr. Oti. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Nancy.
How are you doing? And good to see you this morning.
Thank you so much. Good to see you too.
It seems that whenever there is an issue around POS operators or your constituency, you always speak to me on the show. But let us just get into it, Dr. Oti. Many viewers could just be hearing what geo-tagging means. Of course, earlier this week, was it on Tuesday or so, or Wednesday, I did talk about the news here, the circular that came from the central bank to you and your constituency. Speak to me about what this geo-tagging means for people that are just hearing it for the first time and do not understand this. Can you break it down? What does it exactly mean for an average POS agent listening to us right now, an average POS agent on the streets?
Okay, thank you so much. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, let me take it in layman terms. There are two keywords there, geo and tagging. So geo simply means location, like geography, that kind of thing. Then tagging means to pinpoint. So if you bring two of them together, it means to pinpoint a particular POS on an exact spot on the map. Okay, that's what it simply means. Now, let's be a little technical. So before you can geotag a POS, you must get the exact coordinates of the address of the location of that POS. So by coordinates, we mean the particular longitude and latitude where the address, registered address of that POS is, okay? So that is what it means. Now, if we relate it to the directive of the central bank says that a POS is not expected to work if it is moved 10 meters away from the specific spot where it is geotagged. So that is what this new directive is all about. So what it means that if you are a POS agent or you are somebody that likes to go and patronize POS, that if you, for instance, if you used to tell the agent to come to the house, you want to withdraw money, and the agent address is maybe in number 5 of the same street. Let's say, for instance, now, let's say in Awolowo Road in Ikoyi in Lagos. Say number 5, Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, and you tell the person, please come to my office, I want to withdraw money, and it comes with the POS from number 5 to number 10. Now, if the distance between number 5 and number 10 is more than 10 meters, that POS is not going to work in real time. Then let me give us another idea so that we understand what this means. Now, a typical plot in Nigeria is about 50 by 100, okay? So that's about 15 meters by 30 meters. So you see, you cannot walk away with a POS outside a typical plot for it to work. It will not work. It's only going to work within a plot about 450 meter square area. So that is simply what the new directive is all about.
How did your association take this new directive? And I'm sure that the Central Bank of Nigeria would have engaged you guys, you know, perhaps even before this, or when you saw the circular, what was the reaction of you and your constituency?
Anyway, we were not specifically addressed. We didn't get a formal circular addressing our association. However, circulars were addressed to principals, mobile money operators, banks,
yes, yeah.
Yes, and the rest of them. So we are privy to it and we are aware of the information. And before now, we we know that such a policy is going to come to bear. And we are delighted, we are happy with it. We don't have any problem with the idea of Geo-Tagging. It's already there in many advanced countries, and we really want Nigeria to also match up with what is happening abroad. However, we are concerned about the possible implementation, because one challenge we always notice in the industry is that a good idea can come up and it will really help the country and move us forward, especially in the area of financial services, financial inclusion, and all that. But the problem is usually the implementation or the approach to ensuring compliance. So what we are actually saying is that it's a good idea. It's about time Geo-Tagging and geofencing comes into place, so that a lot of fraud within the system. Remember the last time I was in your station, we talked about fraud, and it is a really lot of it happening out there. It's a quantum fraud happening, and the criminals are really taking advantage of a lot of lapses within the system. So Geo-Tagging will help a lot in order to deal with that. But for the central bank to give a matching order for this to happen within a 60-day window is one of the concerns we have, because it's not as simple as you may think, because of the things. There are so many things involved, which I'm going to break down maybe in the course of this conversation.
Okay, just before we go into that, you did talk about this issue, and the central bank is also of the view that this policy will try to stop fraud as well as ghost terminals. From your experience, how big is this fraud problem? That's one. Then number two, we've also seen other initiatives from the Central Bank of Nigeria targeted at stopping fraud or, you know, issues of insecurity. For example, the SIM registration. We were told here years ago that all our SIMs should be registered. That directive from NCC. We have a BVN. We have the NIN. Yet all those policies, insecurity is still there. People still kidnap Nigerians for ransom. Monies are still being taken. So how sure are we that this GPS thing, this GPS tracking, will stop the fraud in the country?
Okay, yeah, you are correct. The thing is that as you are getting smarter in order to stop criminals, they are also getting smarter by the day. But that shouldn't discourage you from trying. The directive on Geo-Tagging is a good one. It's a smart move. And if you ask me, the fraud out there is really big. It's really big. From time to time, we see data on that, and it runs into millions of naira on a daily basis, both from the financial institutions and then from the agent locations themselves. And let me tell you, one of the gains of Geo-Tagging is that when crime is going on, you can actually monitor it real time. And because one of the things that encourage these criminals from, especially cashing out from agent locations or using the PoS as a tool to extract ransom from victims, one of their cover is that they can do it and you cannot trace exactly the spot from which they do it. But right now with Geo-Tagging, you can monitor them real time. You can specifically say, within 10 meters of a particular registered address, this is where this kind of thing happens. So all those people that harbor such kind of criminals, all those people that encourage those kind of things to be done, by the time it happens and you get the exact spot where this kind of thing happens, the police and the other law enforcement agencies can easily swoop in on them and get them arrested. So when people begin to notice that this kind of thing is possible, so you see that the incentive to indulge in that kind of thing is no longer there. However, like I earlier said, Geo-Tagging is a good idea, but it's not something I think with the Nigerian situation that can be done within 60 days. Now, the minimum standard for a device, a POS, to be Geo-Tagged is at least Android version 10. That is the minimum standard. Now, there are so many POS out there in the market that are not even Android. And there are some that are Android that are not version 10. So what it means is that these are not compatible enough. They cannot be Geo-Tagged. Then again, they have to be routed through the NCS within the switch, okay? And it has to be done in such a way that the compatibility will fit. Now, let me give you a picture. I have been a banker myself, and I know what happens when banks want to upgrade their system. You can agree with me that there are usually a lot of disruptions. So I remember a particular bank, I wouldn't be specific, a particular bank recently upgraded their system, and for about 3 days, customers cannot transact. So now, let's look at the situation we have now. It's basically system upgrade, it's basically equipment replacement, it's basically so many things involved, okay? So there is no way there will not be interruptions and disruptions within the system. And that is what we are saying, that there can be a way to minimize the damage, okay? Even though it's a good idea, it's going to bring a lot of good things for us, but we cannot rush it in such a way that it will disorganize us. We are just coming out from the Naira redesign challenges that disorganize everybody and all that. So, and we don't want a repeat of that. Remember, okay, the POS has become a vital tool now for payment within the system, okay? Both in the rural locations, both in the urban locations and all that. In fact, let me even tell you, sometimes you go to a typical bank ATM, and what you see there is a lot of people parading POS. So the percentage of those who are even patronizing the ATMs to the people patronizing the POS is less than 60 to 40.
Yes.
Okay. So if the POS is interrupted, there will be a lot of challenge within the payment system.
Yes, I understand that. And even during my intro, I did talk about POSs now becoming something like community banks, as it were. You know, mini community banks, if I'm to say, put it that way. But does this mean that, I know that we have about 10 million or more POS devices across the country, but less than that are active. Perhaps around less than 5 million of them are active. Does this mean now that all the agents, all the POS agents need to return their devices to the companies that gave it to them, the companies you know those that I'm talking about? Or is it that we are going to be seeing new issuances of new machines, new devices between now and October 20? That's one. I also wanted to answer this other question, which is, how would this now limit how POS agents serve their communities, as it were? I hope you're understanding what I'm trying to say.
Yes, I do. I get you.
Yes, yes. How would it limit how they serve their communities? Who would also bear these costs? Because many agents, my team did a report on POS economy, I think earlier on this week, and some of them were complaining of lower margins and rising costs. Who will bear the cost of this geotagging? Do you know? Is it the agents, the companies, or the customers? It will now be given to us in a way, as typical of the banking sector or this financial services sector. They will pass it somehow to us.
Okay, yeah, you are correct about the number of POS out there and the ones that are active. We have over 8 million registered POS, and less than that, about 5.9 million is actually active. And even within those that are said to be active, even far less than that is actually what is serving the people. Okay, so now different financial institutions have different software running on their payment terminals. So there will be different approach by different organizations, because it is not the same software kits that all of them are using. So the approach that you take to geotagging depends on your own software that you are using and the particular organization that is supporting your IT services. So that said, now talking about who is going to bear the cost of geotagging, you and I know common primary economics tells us that the incidence of taxation is on the final consumer. So, and who is a final consumer in this instance? It is people that are going to patronize the POS. Now, I am not saying that
so
the
in
bank
a way we will see costs rising.
I'm not saying they are going to directly ask people to pay for this, but indirectly, you know that before you do geotagging, for instance, let's say you have a lot of POS out there as a financial institution, and they are not even Android version 10 compliant. And or maybe you have to run a software upgrade in order to make them compliant and all that. And remember, let me tell you, before you geotag a particular agent, we have over 2 million agents, or even up to close to 3 million agents. So each agent will specifically give you his or her particular spot on the map. That is the registered address. The person will tell you the latitude and the longitude of the place that he or she is operating from.
How about in rural areas where are not well addressed? Anyway, just add this before you land. How about in rural areas where are not appropriately addressed? We know in some places in Nigeria, they'll say, okay, go to that house. By the way, turn right, go left. You will see one yellow house.
So
how do you do that?
The rural areas, there are still ways to identify them. Some of them could be maybe in a hamlet or in a village community like that. You can say so-and-so person's house in so-and-so place, but that does not affect the idea of geotagging. What you do, there are devices, there are equipment that you will just use to a particular place where the agent is. Even your phone can actually, if you put it on, you allow it to, location, yes, it will definitely tell you where you are, latitude and longitude. So you are located.
As if you are using a smartphone. But anyway, the POS devices are expected to be smart anyway.
No, yes, to be able to do that. So the financial institutions are not going to tell you to pay so and so, but we know that there is no way that that kind of amount will be spent on trying to comply with the directive, and the financial institution will not find a way to recover it back.
Do you think now that this would discourage people now entering the POS businesses more? Because, hold on, doctor. Then the other thing is that if each device is supposed to be within that 10 meters radius, how many people can we have between that 10-meter radius? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Because yes, I do know that each POS device at least serves like 80 Nigerians or thereabout. Everywhere you go to, you see almost a POS agent. So how does that address that issue? Then is there also a way for us to balance security as well as flexibility? Then for non-compliant devices, do we expect them to be shut down after the deadline, October 20 this year?
Okay. Recently, I did a spot check in Lagos, precisely around Ajah market. So, and I tried to ask about 10 different POS agents, like how they operate on a daily. I discovered that most of them are roving. Okay, so at a particular time, they move inside the market. Customers have their phone numbers when a particular person wants to transact. Because you remember the last time I was in a station, I told you that a particular taxi driver said that I must pay cash before he can bring me to your station in Abuja. Okay, so that is exactly what we are seeing. There are a lot of people out there in the market who still insist that they will not receive a transfer directly from the customer down to their own account, that it must pass through a POS agent. And so when this kind of thing happens, they usually call a particular POS agent to come and receive that, to still be an intermediary for payment. So now, these POS people, they have their shops where they are staying. Some of them have their umbrella where they are. So when they are called, they have to go inside the market to attend to these people. So if geotagging, the directive comes to play now, this kind of arrangement will no longer work, okay? So it's really going to affect what exactly is in the market now.
So how, sorry, because we need to round up, yes. How would this now impact our financial inclusion? Would it discourage more people from using POS, especially where bank branches are not there? And let me also land, Doctor, in the sense that with this deadline looming, we are going to see a lot of people get out of that business, whether we like it or not. How can the banks now come in here? Because I do know that many bank branches are not in the rural areas. You know, the POSs have come to fill that gap. Even the ATMs, the bank's ATMs in urban centers now, some of them are not even well cached. Let me put it that way. You know, even if they put cash there, it may be a 5K, 10K, 20K. If you need even more cash than that, the POS agents do that. So what role should the banks now play in terms of filling their ATMs with cash? Because people, I just said it was earlier this year, earlier this week, the cash in circulation is still, I think, around 5 trillion naira. So cash is still king in Nigeria. So how do we balance all of this as we close your session?
Yeah, the ATMs may help a little, but definitely it is not going to really help much. What I'm saying is this.
Are you saying
Remember
because it's
during
your
the
constituency?
I know. Wait, hold on. Remember during the cashless policy and the
Yes.
inception of the cashless policy, the CBN had a very good plan, and they phased it out. They started from Lagos, they started from Abuja, Port Harcourt,
Port
all those
Harcourt.
major cities. You understand? So they didn't say every Nigerian city must go cashless. No. So what I'm suggesting for the central bank, I know they are really good at bringing policy that is going to help us, and the particular crop of officers in the CBN right now, they are really great people. So what I'm suggesting is that let it be in phases. Maybe we will say, okay, let the POSs of the organizations operating in Lagos now, maybe about 10% do Geo-Tagging. Then we move it just like the cashless policy, so that we not say let everybody within the country, you know, Geo-Tag all the 5 point something million POSs. Remember, if you have to give us a 60-day window, it means about 77,000 POS must be Geo-Tagged every day. And that is not going to be possible. Okay? So if it is done in phases, maybe within a period of 1 year, the whole country can now have the directive complied. Because if you are starting to comply, if you are going to start to comply, enforce compliance by October 20th, this is not going to happen. It's not going to be possible because many of the POS is not going to work. And imagine when most POS within the country is not going to, there will be a lot of confusion within the system, and that is going to affect the economy.
Okay, in a few seconds, how is your organization helping to support POS agents walk through this process? 30 seconds.
Okay,
so
we are trying our best to enlighten our members. We've always been doing that. We do a lot of training. We talk to them and tell them not to panic. This policy is for the good of Nigerians. It is really going to help financial inclusion. It's going to make us even better in what we are doing, because agents have been a target recently for many criminal activities. In fact, a lot of agents have even lost their lives as a result of the business we do. So if your location is Geo-Tag and maybe armed robbers come there and then make away with your money or POS and all that, at least Geo-Tagging can help us to know where they took the POS to, or where at this particular spot some of these things happen. Okay, so it's a welcome development. We are really doing our best to encourage our members and give them up-to-date information so that they will really be in tune with what is happening.
Anyway, what more can I say than to say let's wish all of us well, and hoping that
from
what the central bank is saying. Yes.
Before we round up, Nancy.
Yes.
Before we round up,
10
let me
seconds.
just say this. Yes, in 5 seconds. We are not usually brought into major conversation. I'm talking of AMMBAN. So I want to plead with the CBN to really take a closer look at us, because we are the people at the last mile. There is this policy that is also looming about exclusivity. So we want to plead with the central bank to equally converse more with us, discuss more with us before some of these policy will be suddenly brought out, because it's really going to disrupt what we are doing.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Let's see how it pans out between now and October 20th. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us. All right.
Thank you, Nancy, for having me.
Thank you. All right, I've been speaking with Dr. Obioha Oti. He's the acting national president of AMMBAN. Thank you for making it up to this minute watching the video. Thank you all. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy TV. Like, follow all our other social media platforms where we keep you up to speed with fantastic interviews, as well as markets, personal finance, business, and economy information. This is the best place to be. I'll see you all again in the next video.